Once upon a time, in the heart of a vibrant Vasilis town, where the sun kissed the earth with golden rays and the sounds of laughter filled the air, there lived a girl named Zainab, with her striking white skin and pale hair. Zainab was a rare sight in her community, a reflection of uniqueness that both fascinated and intimidated those around her. As the first day of Kiani Secondary School dawned, Zainab's heart raced with anticipation and fear. She had always dreamed of this moment, the chance to step into a new world filled with friendships, opportunities, and challenges. Her father, a respected gym owner and boxing trainer, had prepared her for this day, instilling in her the importance of resilience and inner strength. Dressed in her crisp school uniform, Zainab took a deep breath as she approached the school gates. The laughter of students echoed, a mix of excitement and apprehension enveloping her. She clutched her backpack tightly, a silent prayer on her lips that today would mark the beginning of something special. As she walked through the gates, a wave of whispers surged through the crowd. Zainab felt the weight of their gazes, the silent judgment that often accompanied her presence. "Look at her," she heard one girl whisper. "Is she even from here?" Another chimed in with a cruel laugh. "Maybe she'll turn invisible if we ignore her." Zainab's heart sank, but she forced herself to keep walking, hoping to blend into the sea of students. She settled into her classroom, her eyes darting around trying to find a friendly face. But it was in that moment she spotted Lydia, the school's self-proclaimed queen bee, seated confidently in the front row with her clique of followers, a smirk on her lips as she noticed Zainab's arrival. As the teacher entered and the class began, Zainab tried to focus on her studies, but Lydia's presence loomed large. Every little thing she did was met with snickers from the back row. When it was time to introduce themselves, Zainab felt her palms sweat. She stood, her voice barely a whisper as she shared her name, quickly sinking back into her seat, wishing to disappear. After the introductions, Lydia wasted no time. "Zainab, do you need a map to find your way around? Or is it too bright for you to see?" Laughter erupted around the classroom, and Zainab felt the heat of humiliation wash over her. Despite the cruelty, Zainab reminded herself of the lessons her father had taught her. He had always encouraged her to channel her emotions through reading, to find strength in adversity. Whenever she faced challenges, she remembered the countless hours spent in his library, the rhythm of flipping pages, the feeling of power surging through her.
During lunch, Zainab found a quiet corner outside, away from the chaos of the cafeteria. She watched as groups of students laughed and bonded, feeling a pang of loneliness. But just as she was about to retreat further into her shell, she noticed a boy sitting alone, sketching in his notebook. It was Kofi, another outcast who often kept to himself. With a deep breath, Zainab approached him, her heart pounding. "Hey, that looks amazing," she said, gesturing to his artwork. Kofi looked up, surprised, but a small smile broke across his face. They struck up a conversation, sharing their interests and dreams, both relieved to find a kindred spirit in each other. As the day continued, Zainab continued to endure Lydia's relentless teasing and the constant scrutiny of her classmates. Despite her best efforts to stay positive, the weight of their mockery began to take a toll. However, she found solace in her friendship with Kofi, who often encouraged her to stand firm. As the weeks at Kiani Secondary School unfolded, Zainab quickly learned that her hopes for a fresh start were overshadowed by the harsh realities of teenage life. Despite her efforts to focus on her studies and build friendships, the relentless bullying from Lydia and her friends escalated, transforming the school environment into a battlefield. One day, as Zainab walked into the classroom, she was met with a cruel surprise. Lydia and her gang had devised a plan to humiliate her. Armed with vibrant paints and mischievous grins, they mixed colors together, ready to unleash their mockery. "Look everyone, we're going to brighten up Zainab's day," Lydia shouted, laughter erupting from her friends. Before Zainab could react, they surrounded her, pouring the colorful concoction over her. Reds, blues, and yellows splattered onto her uniform, transforming her into a canvas of mockery. Now you're a true masterpiece. One girl jeered while another added, maybe this will help you blend in. Zainab's heart raced, a mix of humiliation and anger flooding her veins. She felt the heat rise to her cheeks as laughter echoed around her. Stay in the sun, Zainab. Maybe your color will dim, another bully called out, echoing Lydia's taunts. God must have been tired when he made you. He forgot to add colors. Each word pierced her like a dagger, leaving a deep emotional scar. Zainab's spirit began to crumble under the weight of their cruelty, but inside her, she fought the urge to retaliate, knowing that responding in anger would only fuel their fire. After the incident, Zainab rushed home, tears streaming down her face. She felt defeated, longing for the comforting embrace of her father, who always encouraged her to rise above challenges. When she arrived home, her father noticed her distress and pulled her into a tight hug. What happened, my warrior? He asked gently. Through her tears, Zainab recounted the day's events, feeling vulnerable yet relieved to share her pain. Her father listened intently, his heart breaking for his daughter. Zainab, remember, the world can be cruel, but you have the strength to overcome this. Don't let their words define you, he reassured her, igniting a spark of determination within her. Despite the humiliation, Zainab returned to school the next day, wearing her stained uniform with a sense of quiet defiance. She refused to let them see her crumble. Instead, she focused on her studies and her burgeoning friendship with Kofi, who had become a steadfast ally. They would sit together during lunch, sharing their dreams and ambitions, both finding comfort in their shared experiences. But Lydia's antics didn't stop. Every day brought new challenges, with taunts and whispers echoing through the halls. Hey, Zainab, still waiting for the sun to finish cooking you? Lydia would shout from across the room, earning laughs from her followers. Yet, every time Zainab heard those words, she felt her resolve hardening. Zainab felt a storm brewing inside her as the days passed. Each taunt from Lydia and her friends chipped away at her resolve, yet she maintained her calm exterior, reminding herself that patience was a virtue. However, deep within, a fire ignited, a promise to herself that she wouldn't remain passive forever. One afternoon, as Zainab was quietly reading in the corner of the classroom, Lydia approached with her usual bravado. What are you reading, Zainab? A guide on how to disappear. The snickers that followed felt like daggers, but Zainab clenched her fists, refusing to let their words provoke her. Yet, as much as she wanted to retaliate, Zainab knew she was outnumbered. Every confrontation with Lydia felt like battling an army with only her willpower as her shield. The thought of physically confronting them crossed her mind more than once, but she hesitated, understanding the potential consequences. She knew that giving in to violence could lead to further isolation and repercussions from the school. In moments of solitude, Zainab would replay the taunts in her mind, the sting of their words echoing like a haunting melody. One evening, as she trained in her father's gym, Zainab's thoughts swirled with determination. Each punch she threw was a declaration of her inner struggle. She was no longer just fighting against a bag. She was fighting for her identity, her dignity, and her place in the world. Zainab, you're strong, both in body and spirit, her father encouraged, watching her with pride. There are some fights where you don't need to use your fist to fight but your brains. You need to figure out how to fight without a word. You can fight academically by outsmarting them. His words resonated deep within her, fueling her desire to rise above the bullying. She knew that her calmness was not a sign of weakness. It was a powerful strategy, a foundation upon which she would build her comeback. The next day, during a lunch break, Lydia and her friends cornered her once again, throwing cruel jokes and taunts. Maybe we should put you in a painting gallery instead of a school, Zainab. Lydia laughed, her friends echoing her cruelty. In that moment, Zainab felt an overwhelming urge to fight back. The calmness she had practiced so diligently felt like a thin veil, ready to shatter. But before she could act on her impulse, she glanced at Kofi, who stood nearby, his eyes filled with concern. He had witnessed the entire scene and shook his head, silently urging her to remain strong. Zainab took a deep breath, the weight of the moment settling on her shoulders. She realized that retaliation wouldn't solve her problems. It would only deepen the divide. Instead, she made a promise to herself. She would rise, but not through violence. She would outsmart them. Determined to outsmart Lydia and her gang, Zainab began observing them closely. She noted their routines, their vulnerabilities, and even the dynamics within their group. She realized that while they acted tough, they were also deeply insecure, often relying on each other for support to maintain their facade. One afternoon, during lunch, Zainab gathered her friends, including Kofi, to discuss her plan. I want to show them that their bullying doesn't define me. We need to turn their mockery into a lesson for them, she declared, her eyes shining with determination. Kofi nodded enthusiastically. We can't just sit back and let them push us around. Let's make a move. Zainab decided to start with Chloe, one of Lydia's closest allies, who often joined in the bullying but lacked the confidence to stand alone. Zainab challenged her to a friendly boxing match during gym class, knowing that Chloe had little experience in the ring. When Zainab issued the challenge, the entire class erupted with excitement. Are you sure, Zainab? You're going to take her on? Lydia mocked, her laughter ringing through the air. Absolutely. It'll be fun, Zainab replied, keeping her voice steady and confident, much to Lydia's surprise. In the days leading up to the match, Zainab trained harder than ever. She pushed herself in the gym, visualizing each punch she would throw and every strategy she would employ. Her father noticed her intense focus and offered her guidance, emphasizing the importance of technique and strategy over brute force. On the day of the match, the entire school gathered to witness the showdown. The atmosphere buzzed with anticipation, and Zainab felt a mix of nerves and excitement. As the bell rang, she stepped into the makeshift ring, ready to demonstrate her hard work. When the match began, Zainab's calmness shone through. She danced around the ring, using her agility to evade Chloe's attempts to strike. With every move, she showcased her boxing skills, demonstrating the strength she had cultivated in the gym. Chloe, overwhelmed by the pressure, struggled to keep up. Zainab landed a few strategic punches, showcasing her prowess while remaining respectful. The crowd gasped as Zainab's confidence grew with each hit, and the tide began to turn. Finally, with a well-timed jab, Zainab knocked Chloe down, and the crowd erupted in cheers. Zainab extended a hand to help Chloe up, proving her strength came from her heart, not just her fists. This act of kindness left a lasting impression on everyone present, and a shift began to occur. As the news of Zainab's victory spread through the school, her classmates' perceptions began to change. No longer was she just the target of bullying. She had transformed into a formidable force, earning the respect of her peers. Encouraged by her success, Zainab knew it was time to move on to her next target, Emma, another member of Lydia's crew who often taunted her during classes. Emma had a fear of public speaking, and Zainab devised a plan to confront her in a way that would empower her. The school organized a debate competition between classes. Zainab subtly encouraged everyone to participate. She knew Emma would be pressured to join, and she hoped this would push her out of her comfort zone. When Emma stumbled through her speech, Zainab seized the moment, supporting her with kind words and encouragement. After the debate, Zainab approached Emma. You did great out there. It's tough to speak in front of everyone, but you showed real courage, she said sincerely. Emma, surprised by Zainab's kindness, began to question her own behavior. As Zainab continued her campaign, she targeted one bully after another, each confrontation carefully crafted to expose their vulnerabilities, while promoting growth and understanding. Her confidence grew, and so did her circle of allies. As Zainab's influence grew, so did the attention from those who opposed her vision. A new student named Tara, who was transferred to the school and aligned herself with Lydia's supporters, was outspoken and ambitious, eager to carve out her own niche in the social hierarchy. Tara began spreading rumors about Zainab, questioning her motives and painting her as a fake leader. She only cares about being popular. She doesn't truly care about us, Tara claimed during lunch, her voice echoing through the cafeteria. Zainab heard the whispers, and although they stung, she knew she had to stay focused on her mission. However, the seeds of doubt Tara planted started to create ripples of uncertainty among the students. During the next student meeting, tensions were high. Zainab and her allies gathered to discuss upcoming events, but the atmosphere was thick with unease. Kofi spoke first, expressing his concerns about Lydia and Tara's growing influence. We can't let her undermine what we've built, Zainab. We need to confront this head-on, he urged. Zainab nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility. I agree, but we have to approach this carefully. We don't want to escalate the situation unnecessarily. Sophia, who had initially doubted Zainab, raised her hand. Maybe we should invite Tara to join our next meeting. It could show her that we're open to dialogue. Taking a deep breath, Zainab decided to reach out. She organized a meeting with Tara, hoping to clear the air and promote understanding. Zainab knew this was a risky move, but she believed in the power of communication. When the day of the meeting arrived, Zainab gathered her friends and waited for Tara to join. As Tara walked in, a palpable tension filled the room. Zainab offered a friendly smile, determined to set a positive tone. Thank you for coming, Tara. I wanted to talk about how we can work together to make our school better for everyone, Zainab began. Tara crossed her arms, her expression skeptical. And why should I trust you? You've turned everyone against Lydia and her friends. The conversation quickly escalated, with both sides expressing their frustrations. Zainab tried to remain calm, but Tara's words struck a nerve. You're just a wannabe leader trying to play the hero, Tara snapped. I'm not trying to play any role. I genuinely want to create a safe environment for all students, Zainab replied, her voice rising in frustration. As the tension thickened, Kofi intervened. We're not here to fight. We need to find common ground, not tear each other apart. After a long and heated discussion, the meeting ended without a resolution. Tara stormed out, leaving Zainab feeling defeated. Despite her efforts, the divide between them seemed deeper than ever. Determined not to let Tara's negativity derail their progress, Zainab called for a rally to promote unity and support. She believed that a strong show of solidarity from her classmates could counteract the division Tara was trying to sow. As preparations for the rally began, Zainab's friends rallied around her, organizing activities and encouraging participation. They created colorful banners promoting kindness and respect, igniting excitement among the students. On the day of the rally, the courtyard buzzed with energy. Zainab felt a surge of hope as she stood on the stage, looking out at the sea of supportive faces. But just as she was about to speak, she spotted Tara in the crowd, flanked by a group of skeptics. With determination, Zainab took the microphone. Today, we come together not just as individuals, but as a community. We have the power to shape our school and stand against bullying and division, she proclaimed, her voice ringing with conviction. As she spoke, the crowd erupted in cheers. But Tara, refusing to back down, shouted back, "You're just a puppet. You'll never change anything." Zainab felt a mix of anger and sadness but pushed through. Change starts with each one of us. It's time we choose empathy over animosity. The rally continued, filled with performances and speeches that showcased the spirit of unity. Zainab's heart swelled with pride as students came together, proving that kindness could overpower negativity. One afternoon, as Zainab was leaving the gym after training, she overheard two students discussing Tara's latest antics. She's right, you know. Zainab's just trying to be the hero of a story that isn't hers. one said. Zainab's heart sank, but she knew she couldn't let this deter her. She decided to confront Tara again, hoping to bridge the divide once and for all. Zainab approached Tara during lunch, her heart pounding. "Can we talk again? I think we need to find a way to resolve this," she said, her tone calm but firm. Tara looked up, her eyes filled with defiance. "Why should I? You're just trying to save face." "I'm not perfect, Tara. I'm just a girl who wants to make a difference." "We can't let our differences tear us apart," Zainab replied earnestly. For a moment, Tara hesitated, her expression softening slightly. "You think it's easy for me? I'm just trying to find my place here too." In that moment, Zainab saw a glimpse of vulnerability in Tara. "I know it's hard. We all want to belong, but we can create a school where everyone feels accepted, including you," she urged. Tara looked conflicted, her defenses beginning to crumble. I don't want to be the enemy, but it feels like everyone has turned against me," she admitted. Zainab felt a wave of compassion. "You don't have to be an enemy. Let's work together to create a community where we all belong. We can achieve so much more as allies." After a long pause, Tara nodded slowly. "Maybe you're right, but it'll take time." With tentative steps forward, Zainab and Tara agreed to start fresh. They decided to collaborate on a school event promoting inclusivity, each bringing their unique perspectives to the table. As they worked together, Zainab began to see a different side of Tara, a passionate leader struggling with her own fears and insecurities. Slowly, their relationship transformed from rivalry to a budding friendship, fostering hope among their classmates. As Zainab's influence grew, Lydia's jealousy turned into desperation. She felt her social status slipping away, and her anger became more palpable with each passing day. The more Zainab shone, the darker Lydia's tactics became. She began to plot her revenge, gathering her loyal followers for one final stand. One afternoon, while Zainab and Kofi and Tara were organizing a school event promoting kindness, they overheard whispers from Lydia's group. "We need to show her who's really in charge," Lydia hissed, her eyes burning with fury. Zainab's heart raced as she realized the stakes were higher than ever. As the day of the event approached, Zainab felt the tension in the air. She continued to train in the gym, channeling her energy into her boxing routine. But deep down, she knew Lydia was planning something significant. That fateful day, as students gathered in the school courtyard for the event, a hush fell over the crowd. Just as Zainab stepped up to speak, Lydia and her gang stormed in, armed with colorful paint and loudspeakers. "Surprise, everyone! We're here to brighten up this boring event," Lydia shouted, her voice dripping with sarcasm. The crowd gasped, realizing they were about to witness chaos. Without hesitation, Lydia and her friends began throwing paint everywhere, splattering the vibrant colors all over the decorations and disrupting the event. Zainab felt a surge of anger and betrayal wash over her. This was not just an attack on the event, it was an attack on everything she had worked for. As the paint flew, Zainab took a deep breath, summoning all her courage. "Stop this right now, Lydia. This isn't how we resolve our differences," she shouted, her voice rising above the chaos. For a moment, the crowd fell silent, stunned by her defiance. Lydia smirked, clearly enjoying the attention. "Oh, look, the albino girl thinks she can stop us. You're just a joke, Zainab." Her followers burst into laughter. But Zainab stood her ground, refusing to back down. Zainab's friends quickly rallied around her, forming a protective barrier. "We won't let you ruin this," Kofi shouted, his voice strong and unwavering. In that heated moment, something shifted within Zainab. She realized that this was her opportunity to confront Lydia once and for all. Gathering her strength, she stepped forward, her heart pounding. "You think this is funny, Lydia? You think making a fool out of others gives you power? It only shows how weak you really are." The crowd erupted in murmurs, the atmosphere charged with tension. Lydia's bravado faltered for a moment as Zainab's words struck a chord, but she quickly recovered, narrowing her eyes defiantly. You think you're better than us just because you learned to throw a punch? You'll never fit in. Zainab knew she had to escalate the confrontation. If you're so confident, let's settle this once and for all. I challenge you to a match, right here, right now, she declared, her heart racing but her resolve unwavering. Gasps filled the air as students turned to each other in disbelief. Lydia's face turned crimson with anger, but deep down, she could feel the pressure mounting. You think you can take me on, fine, but when I win, you'll leave this school for good. Zainab nodded firmly, knowing this was more than just a fight. It was about reclaiming her dignity and standing up for everyone who had ever been bullied. And if I win, you and your friends will stop this madness once and for all. The stage was set, and students quickly gathered around to form a makeshift ring. Zainab and Lydia squared off, tension thick in the air. As they prepared to face each other, Zainab took a deep breath, recalling all the training, struggles, and triumphs that led her to this moment. The match began, and Zainab focused on her breathing. Blocking out the noise of the crowd, she danced around Lydia, using her agility to evade strikes while carefully calculating her own moves. Lydia, fueled by rage, threw wild punches, but Zainab remained calm, her training shining through. With each round, Zainab felt more in control, her confidence surging as she landed precise jabs. The crowd erupted with cheers, rallying behind her. Lydia's frustration grew, and she began to tire, unable to match Zainab's stamina and skill. As the final round approached, Zainab knew she had the momentum on her side. With a fierce determination, she prepared for the last exchange. Lydia, sensing defeat, charged at her with reckless abandon, but Zainab was ready. With a swift movement, Zainab sidestepped and landed a powerful combination, each punch fueled by her journey of resilience and courage. The crowd roared, and in that moment, Zainab knew she was fighting for more than herself. She was fighting for every student who had ever felt powerless. Finally, with one last punch, Zainab knocked Lydia to the ground, and the crowd erupted in applause. Breathless but triumphant, Zainab stood tall, her heart soaring with pride. She had not only won the match, but had also reclaimed her dignity and inspired her peers. With the dust settling from the match, Zainab stood amidst a crowd buzzing with excitement. She felt a surge of empowerment and purpose, knowing that her actions had not only defeated Lydia but had also inspired her peers. However, the aftermath of her victory was just as crucial as the confrontation itself. As the crowd began to disperse, Zainab took a moment to breathe and reflect. She had faced her biggest challenge and emerged victorious, but she knew this was just the beginning of her journey. She felt the weight of responsibility on her shoulders, knowing that her actions could pave the way for change within the school. Kofi rushed over, beaming with pride. You did it, Zainab. You showed everyone what you're made of, he exclaimed, giving her a high five. This is just the start. Zainab smiled, her heart swelling with gratitude for the support of her friends. I couldn't have done it without all of you. We did this together, she replied, looking around at the faces of her classmates, now filled with admiration. Meanwhile, Lydia was slowly rising from the ground, her expression a mix of defeat and realization. As she brushed herself off, Zainab noticed her lingering in the background, surrounded by her allies. There was no longer a sense of triumph in their eyes, only confusion and uncertainty. Lydia, are you okay? Zainab called out, her voice softer now. She remembered the pain behind the bullying, the insecurities that fueled it. Lydia hesitated but eventually nodded, though her eyes were filled with tears. In that moment, Zainab decided to extend an olive branch. You don't have to do this anymore. We can all find a way to get along, she offered, hoping to spark a change in Lydia's heart. The news of Zainab's victory and her heartfelt offer spread like wildfire throughout the school. Students began to approach her, eager to share their own experiences and seek guidance. Many had faced similar struggles, feeling powerless against bullying or peer pressure. Zainab's victory had inspired them to find their own voices. With her friends by her side, Zainab organized a gathering to discuss the future of their anti-bullying campaign. Students from different classes and backgrounds came together, united by a common goal: to create a safe and supportive environment for everyone. We need to form a student council dedicated to promoting kindness and respect, Zainab proposed, her eyes shining with determination. The room erupted with cheers and agreement, and they immediately set to work planning their next steps. As Zainab continued to strengthen her friendships and foster unity, she approached Lydia again, hoping to mend the rift between them. Let's work together to change the culture in this school. You have a voice too, she encouraged. To her surprise, Lydia nodded slowly. I don't want to be that person anymore. I've just been scared of losing my friends, she admitted, her vulnerability breaking the ice between them. Zainab smiled warmly. We can change this together. Let's show everyone that we can support each other instead of tearing each other down. However, as Zainab embraced her role as a leader, she also faced new challenges. With great responsibility came scrutiny, and not everyone was ready to accept the changes she was promoting. Some students were skeptical of her intentions, questioning whether her transformation was genuine or just a facade. During a meeting of the newly formed student council, a student named Sophia voiced her concerns. What if this is just a phase, Zainab? What if things go back to how they were? Zainab took a deep breath, understanding the fear behind Sophia's words. I know change takes time, and I'm willing to fight for it every step of the way. This isn't just about me, it's about all of us. We have to believe in each other, she responded, her voice steady. As she continued to speak, Zainab shared her experiences, not just the victories but also the struggles and pain that had shaped her. I didn't win alone. I won because of the support of my friends and because I refused to give up on myself, she confessed, her honesty resonating with the crowd. I believe we can all rise together if we choose kindness over cruelty. Each one of us has the power to make a difference, she continued, her voice unwavering. As Zainab finished her speech, a wave of applause erupted from the audience. Even some of Lydia's former allies began to cheer, recognizing the sincerity in her words. It was a moment of unity that Zainab had hoped for, a sign that change was possible. After the assembly, Zainab noticed Lydia approaching her, looking more determined than ever. Zainab, I'm ready to be a part of this. I want to help change things too, she said, her eyes filled with newfound purpose. Zainab smiled, her heart swelling with hope. Together, we can create a new narrative for our school. It starts with us. With Lydia by her side and the support of her friends, Zainab felt empowered to continue her mission. They organized workshops on empathy and resilience, encouraging students to share their stories and support one another. As weeks turned into months, the atmosphere in Kiani Secondary School transformed. Bullying incidents decreased, and a culture of respect and understanding blossomed. Zainab had not only fought for her own dignity but had ignited a movement that resonated throughout the entire school. As she stood at the forefront of this change, Zainab knew that challenges would continue to arise, but she was ready to face them head-on. She had learned the true power of resilience and community, and with every step, she was determined to lead others towards a brighter, more inclusive future. Thank you for being part of our community. We'd love your support to help our channel grow. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel for captivating African folktales and updates on our latest stories. Please like our videos to show your appreciation and share your thoughts and connect with us in the comments section. We value your input. Share our videos with friends and family to spread the magic of African folklore. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you will be notified whenever we upload a new tale. Thank you for joining us on this journey.